Welcome back, guys and girls, to another episode of Dad's Toy Garage. We're like this close to getting primer down on this car. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm going to show you a couple more things that I need to get done in this video, including the pinhole filling. But yeah, let's have some fun. Get excited. We're so close to priming. It's going to be awesome. I've gone over the car. Now I've done most of the block sanding, and I still wasn't happy with the trunk lid, so I taped it from the back side, let it fold over, and then taped it down so I can block sand right onto that. So that will get a little bit more work. I found one spot down there I wanted to tackle yet. One spot here, and then the top of the roof. I'm going to do the center section a little bit more. It needs a little bit more work, and then I'll be ready to do my pinholes. Now that's what I'm talking about. Now the trunk lid is straight and level like perfection, and that is what it's after. You can see I had to do a little bit more work in this thing, but we got it where it needs to be. I got this corner fixed up here. There's a little bit of a seam showing here from the what would you call that? The lead seam that was in there. And I got my little spot in here touched up. I got the roof panel sanded up again, and another 5 hours into that, I guess. That roof was really rough. It was a big job, but I'm much more happy with it now. You can see the dark green spot in the middle there. That was kind of the hollow I was working with, and a bunch of other things. So we're ready to give it one last check here, and then we'll do some pinhole filling. You see a lot of little circle marks on the car here. For example, I have gone over the whole car with a blowgun and a close eye and circled everywhere there's a pinhole. And I've got this product here I'm going to try. Same brand as my body filler. I've got a metal scraper, and I've got a razor blade. So I'm going to give it a shot and do some learning on how to do some pinhole filling. So all the pinholes are filled. There's a lot of them. But at least they won't show up in primer later. And I understand that you're supposed to sand it with 320 grit paper. So I'm going to try that with various blocks. So we'll give that a go. I've got a razor blade here, and I've got the pinhole filler on here, the glaze. And it's gone on fairly smooth, but sanding with 320 takes a little bit longer than I would like. So if you look here in this area, I've shaved it down using the razor blade. So literally, you just get in there, you shave it down that way, and it's keeping it flat. Keep it flat, watch your curves. You don't want to obviously go on a spot like this. You want to go with it. Yeah, if you've done anything with fixing runs in clear coat, that's how we do it as well. And then we sand it a little bit, and we take a polisher to it after. I have lots of experience with that through my workplace. So there's that. And then I'm going to hit it with the 320 grit on a block after that, and we'll see how that works. So the pinholes are all filled on this side and in the door jamb. And it worked the way I talked about, filling the pinholes with the metal squeegee, I guess, and then scraping it and sanding at 320. But I'm finding there is a better way to do it. So another tip I got from Kevin Tate's again on Eastwood. That company right there. I'm not sponsored by them, but I got to share it when it works well. You spray this stuff on here, for example. Wear gloves when you're doing it, but spray that. Take your block, and it goes so fast. Wipe it off when you're done. Here's an example, guys, of what I've been doing. Normally I'm holding this, but I gotta hold my camera. You just take a bit of this. Take a little bit of this here, right here, a little bit of this here, and then you mix it up. So I got it mixed up, and then I'd be holding it by the car normally. But you got your pinholes that you found. You just go in there. That. You can see how they show up in there. And it cleans up the mess. Notice how I'm holding the blade this way when I'm putting it on. But it's such a fine layer, it works awesome. And you can see here, I've done this and there's way less pinhole filler on the car. So we'll do this once. I'll sand it with the Eastwood pre-prep, and then and 220 on a block, and then we'll do it, blow it off, and do it maybe 1 or 2 more times, look for pinholes before we move on to the next panel. Yeah, so basically what Kevin explained in the Eastwood video was, if you know how to bend the rules, you can break them, and I thought that was kind of neat. That was his quote. But basically you take your cured body fillers on the bottom, it's got pinholes, you put your pinhole glaze down, then you spray it with the painting pre-prep, and while the other stuff is just barely starting to cure up, and you sand it with a 220 grit, or at least that's what I'm using, on a block, and it sands so fast, no time and you'll be done. So a little tip for you guys. It went from the slow process in the beginning, where I used put on the stuff a little bit too thick, then I went to scrape it with the blade, and then use 320 paper, and it was just taking way too long. It was a little bit frustrating, and then I figured this out. So yeah, a thumbs up to Kevin Tates. I have learned a lot from that guy, and good videos. The car is now stripped down to the shell again. I've pulled the parts off of it, and the weather's stripping out. So the next step is going to be sanding up door jambs. We'll get into a little bit, but I've also done a little thing with my sawhorses here. I didn't want to mark up my body work, so I've taped pool noodle that I cut in half to it, because I got to sand in the hinges and jamb work on that side, scuff it up for paint. The fenders need a little bit more, and the door jambs need a little bit more. Like here, it's still shiny, paint won't stick to that. We'll come around to this side here, same idea, still shiny, won't stick to that. And where I've done my weld to replace this bottom part here, I want to just address this a little bit. Behind the hinge here, you won't see it as much, but I do have a run that came out of here when I did this stuff, so I gotta address that a little bit more. So we'll scuff that up, scuff up the doors and parts of the fender that need it. I've taken the liberty of sanding this with a Scotch-Brite pad, or a scuff pad, and I've taped off where my paint edge is going to be. This will be black, and this will be, because you can kind of, when you're looking at the door open, you see a bit of this in here, so I'm going to body work it to some degree. Both sides where I did my patchwork, I've put down the fiberglass filler. I've shaped that with 80 grit, trimmed it with a knife. This stuff is like rock hard, so you want to shape that as soon as possible. So now I'm going to put some filler over here. I got to tape this edge up yet. I got to address a couple more divots that were harder to reach when the door had its hinges on, and a little bit up in this area here needs some work. And then we'll sand up the texture here, get the primer on there after that. And something I wanted to show you guys, I'm going to see how it works, but I've done it up here on the top hinge and here, because I had my doors aligned perfectly, so I scored it with a knife while it was on. So when, hopefully, if this all shows through nicely after base coat and clear coat, I'll have a bit of a line to work off of here. The door hinge I'm going to leave on though. So this same process is happening on both sides now. So I got these door jambs all detailed up. I'm very happy with those. I've kind of took the texture off of here, sanded out the runs from the stuff that dripped out of the holes when I did the internal coating. So there's that side. Then we got this side over here. So that should look really good. And like, you won't see a ton of this, you kind of just get it in at a glance, but the color transition will end just around the corner, so that should turn out nice. I've changed my mind about waiting till the tires are on to finish this. I'm going to do it now, block sand it out, and if it needs any more work later when the tires go on that they're not clearing for steering, we'll cut it and re-weld it at that point. But for now, we're just going to finish it up. And there you have it. I've got this all done, block sanded, got the line nice and sharp, cleaned up this line here, and like I said in past videos, I welded in a replacement patch here because the fender had been trimmed for clearance. So we'll maybe try and flip this over. And there you can see the piece that I've replaced in this fender. It was literally just kind of cut here straight across, and I know why they do that. They do it to clear larger tires. So hopefully mine fit. I have clearanced it here a little bit. We'll see what happens when I get the car aligned. Thanks for joining me, guys and girls, on another episode of Dad's Toy Garage. It's been fun having you along with me on this journey. But one thing I am going to tell you, we are priming this car next episode. You see this car. So look forward to that. Stay safe out there, guys, and we will talk to you later.